Michael.
Michael,
Nice to meet
okay,
you.
nice to
John.
meet you.
John.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
That's
Thank
a
you.
reusable cup. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We like
Oh,
that.
excellent.
We like that.
Keep
Okay,
it
Great.
cool.
green, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The first question is, what do you think speciesism means?
It might not, I think it has something to do with different kinds of species and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's what it sounds like, but
Maybe some discrimination involved?
maybe a little bit, yeah. Speciesism. You know, it kind of sounds like along the lines of like racism too, right? Or like, you know, you're right, like a little bit, right? But I don't know.
So, for example, like a dog and a pig.
Yeah.
What about this? Do we treat them equally? Do we think of them equally?
No, we don't treat them equally, right? Pigs, you know, I work in a restaurant and like we serve pork and stuff, and you know, dogs, you know, we love dogs. Like we're always like caring about dogs and stuff, and you know, I have a dog at home, right? I have a Doberman, and I love it to death. But I don't think I'd feel the same way about, you know, a pig or something. You know, I think it's just human nature, maybe. You know, I don't know.
And for example, during slavery, it was totally normal for white people to think that black people were not equal. And we
Yes.
traded them on the market like it was a product. Do you think that humans have ascribed this difference to the animals, that we have decided one is for loving and one is for keeping in cages and killing?
I think so. I think that's a pretty. I think it's been that way for a long time too, and I think, you know, people are used to eating pork in some cultures. Like I know, like some Muslim people and stuff, they don't eat pork at all. But you know, I think if we wanted to change that, I think we could change that. You know.
Okay, so this leads perfectly to our next question. Is it necessary to eat animals?
No, I think you can survive off, like, you know, there's tofu, there's different kinds of proteins, right? Like if you go to the gym, there's protein shakes, there's all kinds of different options, right? You don't have to just eat animals, but I think a little bit of it is in our kind of human nature to, you know, we've been
Also-
eating animals like since the dawn of time, so.
We're raised on them.
We're
3
raised
meals a
on them,
day.
right?
Advertising, you see pictures of it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly, right? Burgers, like, and stuff like that, like, for sure, yeah.
So maybe can you give us some examples of things that happen to animals on factory farms?
I'm not too sure, but I know it has to do with like mass slaughter and stuff a little bit, and
And in like the big sheds where they keep 1,000 pigs, when they're growing before they go to the slaughterhouse, what do you think might happen there?
I know they like for cows and stuff. I don't know if it's the same for pigs, but they'll use like steroids and stuff too, and hormones to kind of beef them up, and they have
Beef
like
them up, literally, yeah.
literally beef them up, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, you know, I'm not too sure what happens, but I think that it's kind of like a mass slaughterhouse a little bit, and like I've seen videos and stuff where,
Okay.
like, you know, they have that thing that they'll put on the head, and then it'll like blow a hole through your brain and stuff, and you know, if you watch that, it's kind of like scary, or not really scary, but I don't know, it's sad to watch, right? Like I think humans, we don't really think about that. We just kind of think about the meal. We don't really think, you know, what's happening to this animal, or, you know, like stuff like that, right? But it's kind of my thoughts on it. But
So like, for example, when they have the pigs being born and they cut off their tails and they cut off the beaks of the chicks and keep them in cages, like, do you think most people know about this, or?
I think most people are kind of aware, but it's kind of like you know, I guess we don't really think about it that much. You know, it's not really something that's on our mind on a daily basis, you know.
Okay, and our last question is, why do you think animal agriculture, like the big sheds with 1,000 pigs, are bad for the environment?
Greenhouse gases, maybe. That's really all I can
That's
think
a
of.
main
Maybe,
one. That's a huge one.
That's the main one, right?
And then, for example, like they say the Amazon will be gone in 10 years because we're cutting it down to make room for cattle. Do you think this is something we should worry about?
Yeah, I think, you know, actually one of my friends is from Brazil, and he said that they're just like cutting down the forests at a rate that's like the government can't do anything about it. Like, it's just all money and different companies involved and stuff, and you know, I think that's definitely a problem, right? It's it's kind of heartbreaking to think about, but you know, what can you do, right? Like,
well, thank you for sitting with us. Would you, for example, be open to trying a plant-based diet for 20 days and see what it's like?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, it's we find on campus young people much more open to trying these things. So this has like some nice recipes in it. And
okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. I gotta get to class, but no problem. Thanks.